Scrappy here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am up today with this 12x12 layout using a part of a cut file by the Confessions of a Paper Addict, which is Virginia Walker and her Etsy store. And the full cut file is the Be Brave little one. And if you've been following along on our channel, I have already done one layout using the exact cut file. So I cut my cut file once, and this will be my second layout using that cut file. So for my first one, I did a layout using the inside of these letters, so the Be Brave little one, so the white parts that were cut out from the inside. And for this layout, I'm just using the Be Brave segment. So this would be, I guess, the normal part of the cut file that you would use, but I decided to just use the Be Brave part, and I think I'll use the little one and the arrow on another layout. So I think in total I'll get 3 layouts out of cutting one cut file. And I'll try to remember to link not only to the shop but to the actual cut file that I used, so you can see what I mean. And if I remember, I'll also try and link to the other video that I have done already using this cut file. So these photos are of me at the hospital getting some monitoring done. I know the title says Be Brave, but I'd been sent off for some monitoring just because Lincoln, my son, this was obviously before he was born, was measuring quite small, so they just wanted to keep an eye on him. So I wasn't actually that worried, but it's always a little bit, nerve-wracking when you're sent off for extra sort of monitoring, but he was completely fine. But I still thought the Be Brave title worked. And so there's selfies of me hooked up to this machine, as well as obviously just some photos of the machine. And yeah, that's what I'm using. So I printed out 2 photos onto one 4x6. So I just use the Epson PictureMate software to do that, because I have an Epson PictureMate that I print on. Although I'm thinking this year that I probably should start sending my photos off for printing to like Officeworks or another bulk printing place here in Australia, because it's much cheaper than just printing on my Epson PictureMate. But I just like the convenience of being able to print at home. Anyway, back to what I'm doing. So I am just showing you, I guess, how I am backing some of the cut file. I don't make you watch me do all of it, but I thought I should leave in some of it so you could see how I personally do it. So particularly for these cut files, they're not particularly difficult to back. So I'm just using some scraps of paper. This is actually the Cocoa Vanilla Midnight collection. So not their most recent release, but the one before that was released last year, or the end of last year. And I hadn't cracked into it yet. So this is the first layout that I had made using the Cocoa Vanilla Midnight collection. And Cocoa Vanilla is my favourite brand, supplier. I love Zoe's work and I love Cocoa Vanilla, and I'm just lucky that they're Australian. Yeah, so you can see me here. I'm just using wet glue, in this case Tombow, and I'm putting it on the back of the cut file, and then I am placing the pattern paper kind of on top of that. I'm trying to do it in a way that means I have to do the least amount of cutting possible. So I'm sort of trying to line it up with an edge where I can. So you can see where I just did the E, I tried to line it up on the edge of that E, and with the B that I'm doing now, I sort of tried to line it up with the edge so that I didn't have to cut one side, if that makes sense. And you can see here I'm just trimming around. Now I do cut the rest of this out, so again, you don't have to watch me do the whole thing, and you'll get to see the cut file backed in a minute. Now, I will also say that this layout actually took me quite a few days to put together. When you've got a 12-week-old baby who doesn't love napping during the day, he does sleep well at night though, so I can't really complain. I don't have a heap of time for scrapbooking, so I just sort of have to grab a few minutes where I can. So this layout probably took me, I think, a week and a half to finish. Gone are the days when I used to be able to finish a layout in 20 minutes. I'm just not quite that fast, and I don't quite have that much time anymore. Okay, so here you go. I have finished backing the cut file. It says Be Brave, and now I'm going to work out how I'm sort of going to put it all together. I thought I'd do some layers behind my photos, so I pulled out some of the 6x8 papers in the 6x8 paper pad that Cocoa Vanilla have started doing with their collections. I feel like Midnight was the first one that they did a 6x8 paper pad, but I certainly know they did one with Happiness, which is their most recent collection as well, which I also have and haven't used yet. So yeah, you can see me here just working out the papers that I think I want to use. But then I've actually decided that rather than layering up my photos, I actually am going to place these papers straight onto the background paper. I used a wood veneer piece in the background paper, which I really loved, but I thought it needed, something else just to help the title kind of pop off the page a little bit. So the white cut file blended in a little bit with the wood veneer because it's white based wood veneer, and so it didn't pop as much. So I wanted to, I guess, put the pattern papers underneath, particularly this sort of more navy one, where I was going to put the title so that would help it to pop out. And then I thought I would experiment with some of the ephemera that came in this collection, and so I've grabbed a few bits and pieces and I'm just playing around with how I might make it all look in that bottom corner at the moment, although I'd end up doing 3 sort of little clusters. So I'm using some mason jars and some flowers and some leaves and just sort of creating, I guess, some vases. That's what I'm trying to, I forgot that word for a minute, some vases, and just sort of playing around and seeing how I can make that work and if I like the look of it. So before I stuck anything down, I just thought I'd have a little bit of a play around and see what I liked. Again, a sort of a change, I suppose, in the way that I used to scrapbook or scrapbooked pre-child. I am finding my slightly sleep-deprived brain and my kind of tiredness makes me need to be much more planned than I used to be with my scrapbooking. And by planned, what I really am finding I'm doing is not just sticking things down. Like before, children, BC, I would have just stuck things down and been like, yeah, let's go with that. Let's do this. That looks great. And I would have been able to, I guess, think a few steps ahead of where I was at. But PC, post-children, I am finding that my tiredness is hampering my creativity a little bit and I am having to be, I guess, try things a bit more. So I cut out me sticking everything down, and also this is quite a few days later, but I did stick down the ephemera basically exactly where I'd put it in the trial, and then I thought it needed a little something extra, so I grabbed my container of wood veneer and thought I would look through and see what I had that might work. I have some leaves that I pulled out, and I think I also pulled out a few flowers to see what could work, because I thought the leaves and the flowers would probably work well. And I think I pulled out a bird at one point because I thought I might like to have a bird on the layout, which I still think would have been cute, but I couldn't quite make it work. So you can see there I've trying a leaf in the top right, just sort of trying to work out how it might work with that cluster, how it could fit. And then I know I try a few things in the bottom cluster, so I'm trying a leaf now. I think I also try some flowers just to try and see what could work. I know I tried a couple of different leaf designs or different wood veneer leaf pieces, and I know I settled on a small one in that cluster. I think a flower would have worked there too, but because I'd already stuck everything else down, it didn't quite work as well. So I faff about and I move a flower around a few times. You can see me here going, is it going to work? I'll try a different flower. So sorry. Also, what happened is I had quite a few phone calls during this time. I didn't turn my phone onto airplane mode, which I should have done when I was filming. And I had a couple of phone calls, and then that automatically cuts out the recording. So you haven't missed anything. It's just it'll stop and start a couple of times because I think I got 2 calls during this process. So that was me trying the bird. Didn't end up going with the bird, but you can see I've put a flower up in the top left cluster, still working on the bottom left cluster, but I end up just going with that leaf that is in there, or leaf piece, and I don't use a flower. So yes, happy with those, and I'm going to stick those down. So I'm sticking the flower in the top left, and then the 2 leaves, one in the top right and one in the bottom left. And that is the wood veneer that I am using. And I really like, I guess, just the slightly different texture that it added. you know, helped with the colour scheme, bringing a little bit of, I guess, neutrals in. Yeah, I just really liked it. And then I am pulling out the sticker sheet and using some tiny words. So they weren't as, I guess, relevant to the sentiments of this layout, but we went with it anyway. So the one I just put down at the top was remember this and every moment matters. And then I added our stories. It's very hard in iMovie to see if I've added one to the bottom left yet, but I think I have. So the one I just added there was Oh My Heart. And I know I'm reading through and thinking, what could work? And then I assume I just added So Precious, but I don't really know. That one was You and Me. That one was Love You So. And then I already had 3 on the left. So the 3 down the left are Dreams, So Precious, and Love. So they are the tiny word stickers that I added, and I know what I'm doing off camera now. I'm looking for something to cover the pictures of my face. Here you go. So I didn't want to get mist splatters on them. And then I'm using my gold Heidi Swap Colour Shine. I am on a mission to use this up, which I know sounds weird, but I have a replacement gold mist. So I have no worries in using up the Heidi Shine or the Heidi Swap Colour Shine, but it's like the never-ending pot of gold. it just keeps going. I know I've been talking for ages, if you watch my videos, that I'm going to use this up, I'm going to use it up, and I feel like I've used hardly any since I said I was going to use it up. I'm about, if you've got a Heidi Swap Colour Shine box, a bottle, I'm about halfway through the star, so I've probably got a third left. So I used gold, that was me. I also used the navy, which I just vigorously shook so much it flew out of my hand. That was my funny hand movements there. And then I used a Kaisercraft mist called Pink. And there we are. I'm done. I'm just cleaning up the mist splatters. The pink in particular from Kaisercraft, for some reason, the way the little plastic bit on the inside is shaped, it flicks everywhere. So I'm just cleaning that up. I realise I haven't trimmed some of the overhang, so I'm trimming that and then I'm done. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this layout. I really love how it came together, and we will see you in the next video. All right, guys. Bye.